Hey there. Ready to dive into something truly unique?
Always up for a challenge. What do we got?
Today we're cracking open the 2003 edition of Brothers of the Grape.
Sounds intriguing already.
It's not just any novel about peace, though.
Oh.
You've given us a copy with forewords and introductions
Uh-huh.
and mentions of revisions going all the way back to the 70s.
Wow.
It's like this book has lived several lives before even reaching us, wouldn't you say?
It's certainly intriguing. The copyright history alone is a story in itself. Originally registered in 71, adapted into a screenplay in the 90s,
Great.
and transferred again in 2002,
Hmm.
all while undergoing multiple revisions.
Makes you wonder, what about this book has captivated people for decades, prompting them to revisit and reshape it?
It does, doesn't it?
That's exactly what we're here to uncover. What lies at the heart of Brothers of the Grape and what makes its message so enduring.
I'm ready to find out.
The introduction immediately throws us into a world grappling with the aftermath of 9/11,
Right.
highlighting how, amidst chaos and conflict, this ancient message of peace resurfaces.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the book itself is a response to real-world events.
It's a powerful reminder that the yearning for peace is woven into the fabric of human history. We see it reflected in art, literature, throughout different cultures. Brothers of the Grape seems to tap into that universal desire and offers a unique perspective on how we might achieve it.
Well, let's jump into the story.
Okay.
In the first couple of chapters, we meet Alex,
Okay.
a young man disillusioned by war. Instead of seeking solace, he turns to archaeology, hoping to unearth the root causes of conflict. Almost like he needs to understand why we repeat the same patterns of destruction.
I see.
Then comes this almost dreamlike encounter with a mysterious man in a garden,
Interesting.
which sets the stage for his journey. Have you ever had an experience that completely shifted your perspective, even if it seemed small at the time?
Alex's encounter is far from small. This mysterious figure tells him, "From the persistence of your desire will come your answer."
Wow.
It's an incredibly powerful statement suggesting that focused intention can unlock opportunities we never thought possible. But it also begs the question, what happens when desires clash? And what does persistence of desire really look like in our daily lives?
That's a question I've been asking myself too.
Yeah.
What if by focusing our energy on what we don't want,
Right.
we actually invite it in?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mind bend.
It certainly challenges us to examine our own desires and motivations.
Yeah.
But let's get back to Alex. His journey takes him to Albania, of all places,
Albania.
accompanying his friend Regio, who's on a forced family vacation. Little do they know this trip will transform into a journey of self-discovery for both of them, especially as they find themselves drawn to Skanderbeg's fort,
Skanderbeg's fort.
a real historical site in Albania.
It's fascinating how the setting seems to mirror the themes of the novel. A place known for its resilience and resistance against invaders becomes the backdrop for Alex's own internal struggle against hate and conflict. It's as if the very stones are whispering a message of enduring strength and hope.
And within this evocative setting, we're introduced to Trina, a captivating Albanian woman who seems to embody peace.
Okay.
She's deeply connected to nature, and as we learn to this mysterious group known as the Brothers of the Grape, interestingly, the forewords tell us this is a real fraternity with roots across Europe, blending Eastern mysticism and Western thought. It's not every day you encounter a book rooted in reality like that.
It's a really intriguing detail, especially since the book seems to dance between fact and fiction, blurring the lines between what's real and what's symbolic.
Yes.
And speaking of symbols, the forewords also hint that Brothers of the Grape is an exploration of Omar Khayyam's Rubaiyat,
Right.
using code and symbolism to reveal a deeper meaning.
Definitely adds a layer of complexity, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so, yes.
For those unfamiliar with Omar Khayyam, he was a Persian poet and philosopher known for his verses on life, love, and the ephemeral nature of our existence.
Okay.
His work often embraces themes of carpe diem, urging us to find joy in the present moment. But Brothers of the Grapes seems to build upon those themes.
Absolutely. For example, the wine in the novel represents spiritual wisdom.
Okay.
The cup symbolizes the individual, and the tavern becomes a representation of human consciousness itself.
Right.
So when they talk about intoxication, they're referring to a state of spiritual ecstasy or heightened awareness.
I see.
It's like they're speaking in a secret language.
And this is where the influence of Sufism comes in. Have you ever encountered Sufism before?
I've dabbled a bit, but I'm eager to learn more about how it ties into everything.
Well, Sufism is often described as the mystical heart of Islam, emphasizing inner transformation and a direct personal experience of the divine. It's a rich tradition with a focus on spiritual practices designed to bring you closer to a higher truth.
So when they talk about intoxication in the book, it's not about overindulging in the literal sense, but rather becoming drunk on wisdom and spiritual insight.
Exactly. It's about reaching a state of heightened awareness and connection. It makes you wonder, what does spiritual ecstasy look or feel like? And how does the novel use this symbolism to guide us toward that state?
Those are some big questions.
All right.
Especially since the book itself seems to function as a kind of guide.
Okay.
With the Brothers of the Grape acting as these enigmatic mentors. What strikes me is how they're not just a random group of peace-loving folks, but a brotherhood with rituals and traditions rooted in centuries of wisdom. It's like they hold the keys to unlocking a different way of being in the world.
And this is where it gets really interesting. From the forewords, we discover that a woman named Nicole Christine, a sister of the Grape, played a key role in shaping the book's message.
Wow.
She connected it to the teachings of Global Citizen University, or GCU, which emphasizes global citizenship and cross-cultural understanding.
That's right. It's like they're taking this ancient wisdom and making it relevant for the modern world. This GCU connection definitely adds another layer to the story, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It suggests that the book's message isn't confined to a fictional realm. It has real-world implications, prompting us to consider our own roles in creating a more peaceful and interconnected world.
It's a lot to unpack, but I already have a feeling this is going to be a deep dive we won't soon forget.
You're right. There's a lot to unpack here. It's like Brothers of the Grape is inviting us on a journey of discovery alongside Alex.
Right.
A journey that intertwines ancient wisdom with modern challenges. And this connection to GCU is particularly fascinating.
Yeah.
It speaks to the book's potential to inspire real-world change.
It's definitely got me thinking, especially this idea of becoming a citizen of the world, as the book encourages.
Right.
What does that even look like in today's world? What do you make of that call to action?
It's a question worth pondering. In essence, it seems to suggest a shift in perspective, from a narrow nationalistic view to a broader, more inclusive understanding of our interconnectedness. It's about recognizing our shared humanity across borders and cultures.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how the book itself seems to embody that idea of blending Eastern mysticism with Western thought. It's like it's breaking down barriers right there in its pages. But we haven't talked much about the Brotherhood's rituals yet.
Right.
They use wine and specific verses from the Rubaiyat, right?
Yes.
What's the significance of that?
The ritual is intriguing, isn't it? It reminds me of how many spiritual traditions throughout history have used rituals and practices to connect with something larger than themselves. Think of meditation, prayer, even certain forms of dance.
Right.
These practices often serve as a pathway to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe.
It's like they're using these ancient tools to access a different state of mind, one that's more receptive to wisdom and spiritual insight. And they use the wine as a symbol for that wisdom with an intoxication, representing a state of spiritual ecstasy.
Right, precisely. It's a beautiful metaphor, wouldn't you say? Not about literal intoxication, but about becoming drunk on wisdom, on a deeper understanding of life's mysteries. The ritual, while fictional, points to the very real power of practices that connect us to something beyond our everyday awareness.
It makes you wonder if they're onto something. If by tapping into this deeper level of consciousness, we can actually create change, not just within ourselves, but also in the world around us.
That's a powerful thought. And it ties into the concept of the philosopher's stone, which is mentioned in the book.
Right.
Remember, in alchemy, it represents the transformation of base metals into gold.
Right. It's about taking something ordinary and turning it into something extraordinary. But how does that relate to the characters and their quest for peace?
Well, in Brothers of the Grape, the philosopher's stone seems to symbolize the potential for transformation within each of us. It's about taking our base desires, the leaden metal of hate, greed, and fear, and consciously choosing to transmute them into the gold of love, generosity, and peace.
So it's not just about external peace treaties or agreements, but about cultivating inner peace as well.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that true and lasting peace begins within each of us. It's an inside-out transformation. And this is where the Brothers of the Grape offer a compelling perspective. They seem to suggest that by mastering our inner world, by consciously choosing love over hate, we can contribute to a more peaceful outer world.
It's a bold claim. But is it realistic? Can a small group of individuals truly make a difference in a world that often seems driven by conflict and division?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And to be honest, I don't think there's a simple answer. The book itself seems to grapple with this very question, highlighting the challenges and complexities of peace building in a world that doesn't always welcome it.
It's almost like we're being asked to consider these questions alongside the characters,
Yeah.
to wrestle with the possibilities and limitations of their philosophy.
Yeah.
It's not a passive reading experience, that's for sure.
Not at all. And as we follow Alex deeper into the world of the Brothers of the Grape, we see him confronting these complexities firsthand. He's wrestling with his own doubts, his own inner leaden metal, if you will. It's a struggle I think many of us can relate to.
Absolutely. We all long for peace, but the path to get there is rarely clear-cut. It takes courage to face our own shadows, and even more to believe that we can actually make a difference. But isn't that what's so inspiring about the Brothers of the Grape? They haven't given up hope. They're still striving to create a more beautiful and harmonious world, starting with themselves.
It's true their dedication is inspiring, and it circles back to that potent idea of persistence of desire.
Right.
If these characters, flawed as they are, can hold on to that vision of a more peaceful world,
Yeah.
maybe we can too.
It makes you wonder what could happen if we all focused our collective intention on peace.
Right.
Could we actually will it into existence?
Mm.
Brothers of the Grape seems to suggest it's possible.
The book certainly plays with that idea, doesn't it? It reminds me of the saying, what you focus on expands. If we constantly dwell on conflict and division, that's what we're likely to see more of. But what if we consciously chose to focus on peace, on understanding, on our shared humanity?
It's a powerful thought experiment.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about the Brotherhood's use of wine as a symbol for spiritual wisdom.
Right.
It's not about escaping reality through intoxication, but rather about seeing the world through a different lens, a lens that reveals our interconnectedness and the potential for transformation.
It's about accessing a higher level of awareness, as the book suggests. Remember how they talk about intoxication as a state of spiritual ecstasy?
Yeah.
It's about experiencing a profound shift in perception, a glimpse into a reality beyond our everyday limitations.
It makes me think of those moments when you're completely absorbed in something, music, nature, a meaningful conversation, and you feel a sense of expansive joy and connection.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be a taste of what they're talking about?
It's certainly possible. And it connects to the broader theme of inner transformation that runs throughout the book. The Brothers of the Grape seem to be saying that by doing this inner work, by consciously choosing love over hate, we become vessels for peace ourselves.
And as we embody that peace within,
Yeah.
it ripples outward, influencing the world around us.
Right.
It's a beautiful idea, but it also raises a lot of questions.
Sure.
For example, how do we reconcile this idea of inner peace with the very real injustices and suffering in the world?
That's a crucial question, and I don't think the book shies away from it. It acknowledges the complexities of our world, the very real pain and conflict that exists, but it also seems to suggest that by cultivating inner peace, we're better equipped to face those challenges with clarity, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to creating a more just and harmonious world.
So it's not about becoming passive observers,
No.
but rather about accessing a wellspring of inner strength and wisdom that allows us to engage in the work of peace building with greater clarity and purpose.
Exactly. And I think the connection to Global Citizen University, or GCU, is significant here.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the importance of understanding different cultures, of bridging divides, and actively participating in creating a more just and sustainable world.
It's like the novel is saying, here are some tools, some ideas, some ancient wisdom. Now go out and use them to make the world a better place.
And that call to action, that invitation to become citizens of the world, really resonates with me. It reminds us that we're not just isolated individuals, but part of something much larger than ourselves.
Right.
And within that interconnectedness lies the potential for incredible change.
It's a powerful message and one that feels incredibly relevant today. As we navigate a world grappling with the division, conflict, and uncertainty, Brothers of the Grape offers a timeless reminder of the power of individual transformation and collective action. It encourages us to believe that a more peaceful world is possible and that we all have a role to play in creating it. What do you think? Do the Brothers of the Grape offer a blueprint for peace in our time?
That's the question I hope listeners will carry with them long after this deep dive. It's a conversation starter, an invitation to reflect on our own beliefs about peace and to consider how we might contribute to a more harmonious world, both within ourselves and in our communities. One thing's for sure, this book stays with you.
Absolutely. It's a story, a philosophy, and a call to action all rolled into one. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. If the persistence of desire can shape reality, What kind of world will you choose to create?